Okay, welcome back students. So today we are going to learn about the how to hide and unhide and freeze the rows and columns. So that's the next part of the chapter. That's the topic. So let's get started. Relevant knowledge. I'll just read out few of the theory part and then we will straight away go for the practicals. That is because it matters a lot. Once you know how to practically do it, then you can actually understand the whole concept, and then you can also write the answers in your own words. So I will just read out the theory part first and then we will move on for the practicals. So relevant knowledge, let me just read out. Sometimes you have data in a row and columns which are needed for formulas or charts, but you do not want data to be visible. Okay, sometimes it happens because you're going to use the charts in the future. We are going to learn even about charts in the next period, I guess. I'll just see to that. Okay, so we're going to learn about charts, and when we're going to learn about charts, we're going to display the charts. The data will be displayed in form of a chart, and then we just don't want the data should be visible, so I can hide the data. That is what it means to say. A very handy feature of spreadsheet is the ability to hide a row column that is not to be shown to the end user. Okay, so the data is hidden, that is row column is available for calculations though not visible. So it only means that the data won't be visible, but it will be very much active as far as the calculations are concerned. So if you apply any formula, so that hidden row or column is going to be the part of that calculation. Okay students, so freezing rows and columns is another helpful feature in a spreadsheet when you are dealing with huge amount of data that spans several rows and columns. So if there are many rows and many columns, so this freezing thing is going to really help us a lot. You may want the headers to remain constant while you scroll the data so that you can identify the names of the rows and columns. Now let us practically, we will just do this, okay? And then they have shown this practical part, how to do it. So let's start it. Let's start the practicals. So what it means exactly, okay? So the first thing is hiding and unhiding the rows and columns. So how does it work like, okay? So it's a very simple feature. For example, I want to hide the row that is this one. Okay, let me just make it the size a bit bigger so that it's visible to you. So I want to hide this particular row, that is the 10th, the 10th row. And then I have to go to the home tab. Under the home tab I have to go to format. Okay, again I will repeat, I have to go to the home tab. After clicking on home tab I have to go to format, and under format there is an option that is hide and unhide, and I select the first option, that is hide rows, and you can see that particular row is now hidden to the viewers or to you. So you can see that after the row 9 comes 11. That's because the row 10 is been hidden. And you can also see there is a one, a kind of the partition that shows over here between 9 and 11. It's a bold line that has appeared over here. So it's an indication that there is a, the next row has been hidden. And to basically unhide this, you can again click on format, click on hide and unhide, and unhide rows, and you can see that that particular row is now unhide, now means it is now visible to you. Another way to do it, like if I just hide this row by clicking to format and hide the row, is simply just going to that bold line, that bold partition between 9 and 11, and you can see there are two arrows in the opposite direction, as well as the horizontal two lines and the opposite arrow. That icon appears, and the moment you double click onto that, Okay, you can unhide it. So this is another shortcut way to unhide the rows. So this is how to do it, children. It's pretty simple. And so this is the format option, hide and unhide, and these are the options. Similarly, you can do it for the columns also. I select the first column and go to format, hide and unhide, and the column. So you can see the column, that is a column, has been hidden. Similarly, if I just that the broad line that has appeared, double click onto that, and it will appear again. It's over here. Okay, so this is how you can hide and unhide the rows and columns of a worksheet. Then another important feature that we have is the freeze option, and it's very handy when there is a huge amount of data onto your worksheet. So let's just read something about freezing. So how to freeze is open the spreadsheet. In order to freeze panes available to Windows group in view tab. So we have to click on the freeze panes option available under the window group in view tab. So let's do it. So how does this work is like, I have this, I want that this first row, okay, normally it is applied to the first row and the first column, because maybe the possible that I have the column names given to this. Okay, and assume now that this is the column name, or I'll give something like reg number or some serial number. That's the heading. And over here I will give something like, this is maybe an address, and this is maybe you know uh, I'll just give the name and product over here, and then this is some kind of data. Okay, let's assume this. Okay, now this is the header for me. This is going to act like a header. And now if I scroll down, you can see I am not able to see that header, but I want that the header should be always visible, because then I will able to understand, okay, what this column is all about. The header is gone since I've scrolled down, isn't it, children? So how I'm going to do this is, okay, just go to, okay, that is the view option. Okay, view option, and under the view option there is the option that is freeze panes. Just click on the freeze pane and I say freeze the top row. Okay, and now what happens is this particular first row is been freezed. Now if I just scroll, you can see that the first row, it is still visible. Can you see this? That's roll number, that's the the row number 1. And even if I'm scrolling, it is very much, again, it's very much visible. So it will always be visible. So now I know that, okay, this is a product or whatever it is, and this I did not give any name, so I can give some name, maybe base price. Oh no, base, and I'm just giving some names. Okay, and this is like price, and maybe this is like total. So now if I just scroll, and you can see, okay, this is base price, this is the base price, this is the retail price, this is the total, or whatever it is. Okay, so you can see this has been freezed. To unfreeze this, you have to again click on okay, just click on, make these selective, and unfreeze panes, and it will be gone. Similarly, you can apply the same thing for the columns. So click on freeze pane and make the first column freeze. So this particular column is going to get freezed. So even if I scroll this horizontally, though there is not much of a data, but still you can see that this column is freezed now. I hope you're getting it. I'm scrolling it, but this is not getting scrolled, but this is always visible. So that is how the freeze option basically works. So then I'm going to go again, going to go to views and unfreeze the pane. Now one more freeze option that we have is a bit complicated, but it is very simple, and that is freeze pane. So what this basically does, keeps rows and columns visible while rest of the worksheet scrolls. So for example, if I want that this column and this row should be free, so if I just select this one, that is the second row, second column. So my first row and the first column is going to get freezed. So I select this, okay, and now you can see that this first row is freezed, as well as if I scroll this way also the first column is freezed. So this is how to do it, children. So hope this activity is very much clear to you. Then let's move forward with the chapter. It's very simple. Okay, there is a exercise part, and this is an activity, children. Please do this activity, do this practical, and then do the assessment part. Simple, three fill in the blanks we have. When you freeze a row, dash remains constant. So what happens when you freeze a row? What remains constant? It is actually the column. The column will remain constant. So this answer over here is the column remains constant. Okay, if you want to really see this, is somewhere, you know, over here. Okay, so scroll your mouse in the spreadsheet, frozen rows and columns, frozen rows and columns. Okay, the column will remain constant, children. Okay, just a minute. We'll freeze all rows and columns. Okay, just a minute. The if you select a row, let me just do this activity. Okay, let me just unfreeze this. Okay, and if I freeze this, what happens? We'll practically see this. Okay, if I freeze the row, so what happens is that row remains constant. So you can simple answer is that the row remains constant. Okay, so if you freeze the row remains constant. So it's somewhere related to this, and it's practically we have seen it. So scroll your mouse worksheet, and the rows and columns remain constant. That is for the first option that they are saying. Okay, so that was the first option. And if I just make the, you know, the row as select the row, freeze the first row, then that row is going to remain constant. So this remains constant, isn't it? And if I select the column remains constant. Simple as that. So you can say that that's the answer, children. And then freeze pane option is available under dash group in dash tab. So what is the group? That is, freeze pane option is available under window group in view tab, isn't it? Window and view. Fine. And then we have the panes are formed where your dash is placed, that is the cursor. Okay, so the pane is formed where you place your cursor over here, and then I went to freeze the option, and the first option I'll unfreeze, and then click on freeze and the freeze option. So the where the cursor is placed, so the answer for this is where the cursor is placed. Okay, it's given in the book as well. Okay, it's over here, the panes are formed where your cursor is placed. Okay, so I'll just make this also a bit bigger so that this is visible to you. So the panes are formed where the cursor is placed. So let me just make the copy of this. Okay, let me go to the snipping tool, and I'll just take a new, okay, cut this particular piece, and then I'll go to, okay, let me just save this first, just a minute. Save as, and I will save this under, that is freeze name, and then I'll go to Word. So children, I'm giving this PDF to you in form of a PDF. Please do that, okay, in the fair copy. And over here I can just open that picture, that is freeze, and then after this I'm going to give the answer key, And the answer key is, for the first, it is row will remain constant. Okay, let me just guess. If I freeze a row, I guess that's column remain constant, isn't it, children? If I just select the row, the columns will remain constant. So I'm just going to correct this. If I select this row, okay, this row, and these are the columns, so doesn't that column remains constant, isn't it? So children, please rectify this, and I'm going to make this as column. Now it's perfect. The columns will remain constant. And the second, there is no doubt about it, it is the option, that is the window and view. So window and view, window and view. Just we miscalculated the first one. And the third one was, the panes are formed where your dash is placed, that is the cursor, where your cursor is placed. Fine. So this is the answer key, children. I'm going to make this as a PDF, and then you can have this. I'm going to give this PDF. We'll see this like answer key for freeze, something of that sort. Okay, answer key for freeze, and then publish it. And then children, we will move on to the next part of the chapter, and that is, okay, how to apply set the page breaks. It is very simple. So to apply the page breaks, let's immediately start with the activity. Okay, to apply the page break, for example, I want the first 10 rows. Okay, first 10 rows, and then from the 11th row I want it in the other page. The first 10 rows should be only in the first page, and the rest of the rows should be in the next page. So what I will do is, I will go to the 11th row and go to page layout. Under page layout, go to break, and then insert page break, and then there will be a page break over here. Now if I go to file, go to print, and you can see there are only first 10 rows in the first page. Why did this happened is because I applied the page break after the 10th row. And no, now if I go to the next page, you can see the rest of the columns, the rest of the rows are in the next page. So this is how you can apply the page break. You can also go to set print area, clear print area set. It will also show you the print area. Just a minute. And okay, then I'll just read out the theory part, what they have said. Let us just see. Okay, there is simple page break options. Okay, so to print a worksheet with exact, I'll just zoom it. Okay, to print the worksheet with exact number of pages, you can adjust the page breaks in the worksheet before printing it. This feature is useful especially when printing huge sheets. You can use page break view to see the other changes. And changing row and height affects the automatic page break. So row and height is also another thing, children. I'll just show that. I mean, if I want that, this particular row or this one, and right click, and there will be a row height for this. Can you see this row height? So I can increase and decrease the row height. It is by default, it is now very small, maybe not visible to you. It is 14.5, and if I make this as 10, so you can see that a row, the height of that row has shrinked a bit. So I'll just control Z, go back to the previous setting. So if set the height and the width of the columns, so that is column width. So I can adjust the column width as well. So it is going to affect the page break, isn't it? So if I increase the row and height, I mean the height of the row and the width of the column, it is going to affect the overall printing area. Understand it.